Well, hello. Welcome to the Creatives Conversation. If you're new here, my name is Gabriella Marte. I'm the director and owner of Helps Too. And if you are returning, welcome back. I have some amazing people with me today. First off, this is a regular, Amber Huffman. She's the brand manager here at Helps Too. I love her. She's like a sister. We're also housemates for 6 months this year. The interesting stories that we will not share. But these two are who we want to talk about and talk to. I have Chelsey and Andrew Webb, Andrew and Chelsey Webb, however you want to say it. But these two are phenomenal friends, and they do so much creatively. And Amber brought them on because we want to talk about creating and pursuing your passion as a family. So welcome, you guys. I'm so excited to have you.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. It's so different because we're like on like a show and like we never do this. Like we're like laughing and cackling and like sharing deep stories and stuff. But Chelsey and Andrew, you founded, right? And you kind of run Arrow Worship Ministries.
Correct.
And then Chelsey and Andrew also are musicians. They've done their own musical artist thing, right? And the Chelsey Webb, I was gonna say experience, but no.
Yeah.
What would you call yourself when you were touring like independently?
Chelsey Webb Band,
Okay,
basically.
yeah. That's fair, yeah. So I did music too, I still do music, but I would just go like, I'm Marte, and this is my band, and people would be like, well, what are you guys called? Marte. I felt bad for my bandmates, like, you're just with me. You know, what do you say? You were just with Chelsey the whole time.
Yeah.
And didn't you guys meet? I mean, sorry to like digress, but like, didn't y'all meet through music?
We did.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, this is so relate.
She needed a guitar player, and I was like, I'm your man.
Hey.
Double meaning. I'm your man.
Yes.
I thought so at first. She did not.
Well.
I got all slicked up for
caught on
band
later.
practice. And yeah.
Wait, so how long was the catching on? I'm just curious. Like, you didn't think anything about Andrew before?
No, well.
Sorry,
let me be very careful. I just didn't think of him in that way, honestly. We'd met at church, and I just didn't think he was interested, honestly.
Well, that does help. If a girl doesn't think you're interested, she's
I'm just
like,
kind of like,
no chance.
And also, too, I was playing in the secular world, and so at that moment.
Yeah.
And so I was like, he was the church guitar player, so I didn't want to corrupt him, so.
Too good for me.
Honestly, yeah. And so, like, so I had some boundaries. So.
Yeah, but this is Mr. like Latin Heat now.
I
Like,
know.
this is like corruption. What does that even mean? Like, she's the one with the fire. You know?
Right.
That's awesome. And now, so we met, if you guys are new to our relationship, which a lot of you probably have no idea, but Amber and I met Chelsey and Andrew here in Kansas City. We're all a part of the International House of Prayer, musicians, going to school. Amber's a flautist as well. I just love saying that because like I feel like people don't know.
She can't say the word flautist without bragging about the fact that she knows the word flautist.
Okay, I'm
First
just
of all,
That's a great word.
that's disrespectful.
But it's true. I can't tell you how many times recently I've heard this
See?
woman say.
Didn't you just say like what just went on? Did y'all have like a realization that that's like a thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Just now, yeah.
First of all, let's just have a little commercial break right here, okay? So when you play the flute, you're actually called a flautist, and I just think that is like you have to know. If you don't know, you don't know.
That's
Like
the word of the day on the Creatives Conversation. We're learning the word flautist.
yeah, there you go.
person
So
who
next
plays
time
the
you
flute.
see an orchestra or whatever, and someone's playing the flute, you could be like, oh wow, that flautist.
My
That's
mind
really
goes to
good.
the Mexican food scene, and so I'm thinking
like a
flauta,
flauta?
and
Yeah.
they're amazing. I just want some crispy love in my life.
Crispy love.
I'm just good saying that, crispy love.
I just want some crispy love in my life.
Oh man, we had some
It's a
sweet
mood.
potato tacos the other day.
They were good.
It was so delicious. Try to
That
eat less
sounds yummy.
meat. Delicious. I know it sounds crazy, but some sweet
I
potatoes.
taught her about it.
Yeah.
Vegan tacos.
And I made it my
Good.
own. You put the sweet potatoes, you cut them up on a pan, little olive oil or whatever kind of oil. Some, what is it called? That pepper.
Cayenne.
Cayenne pepper and salt. Ah, cheese. Hallelujah. Boom. Okay,
Yeah,
anyway, sorry.
so good.
That's it. Yeah.
That sounds
We've
amazing.
given so many tips today. If you
Right.
guys stop right here, you've gained so much knowledge. But we want to keep going. So you set this up, Amber, and I want you to kind of take it. Well, first of all, I stopped saying that you're a flautist. Amber's a flautist.
Yes.
I'm a musician in the sense of like guitar and vocals. Andy, you play, I mean, a lot of things, the bass, but mainly a
Everything with
guitarist.
strings.
And then
Yeah.
we're longing to hear you sing. Only Chelsea knows.
Yep, I'm banned.
Yeah,
He said I'm banned.
I'm the band. And then Chelsea sings. You play the keys now.
Yeah.
Anything else you're working on?
Nope.
Listen,
I play
sometimes
a
simple
little bit of guitar.
That's okay. Yeah,
Not a whole
That's
lot.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah. When someone asks me to play the keys, I'm always like,
Same.
is this gonna work out? Or I
yeah.
need like 2 weeks practice. Yeah.
real.
So yeah. Anyway, so we all met in the house of prayer and we became friends. We went down to Alabama, where y'all are
Yes.
from.
Roll
I
Tide.
can't not say y'all around you guys, just so
That's
you know.
true.
Yeah, so Roll
I was like
Tide.
sending them a message earlier, and I said y'all. I was like, they're already
It's
running off.
electric. You feel
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And we got to do a music camp. I got to teach guitar. What did you do?
I helped you. No, I helped you teach vocals with
Yeah.
the kids.
Ah.
I was like,
You
what
were
did
the
I do?
pianist, actually.
I did, yeah.
You played piano
I
for
played
me.
keys for them, yeah. But yeah, mostly played flute, just on the worship team.
And we went swimming.
We
Sorry.
went
I know this is
Don't
really random, but
bring
I'm
it
just
up.
having
She's
we haven't
bringing
seen
it
it in a
up.
while. We went swimming, and this is the last story, and we're jumping into it. I
bringing it
promise.
up.
But we went swimming. I don't know if
Every
y'all remember
time.
this. We were at that river that you guys took us to.
Yeah.
And Amber was kind of like learning to swim.
Martis Mills. That's where we went.
Yes.
Oh.
Martis Mills.
I was like, I don't know, but
Yeah.
it sounds good to me. Yeah. Okay. So
She also can't tell anyone a story about us going to Alabama without telling the story of me learning how to swim. Every time, y'all.
I just
what
want to
I
say,
go through.
being from California, it's such an oddity to me to see people that don't know how to swim. So when someone tells me they don't know how to swim, I look at them like, for real? Like, because I'm just so used to people being swimmers. Anyways.
Yeah, well.
But anyways, this woman was learning how to swim, and we were in the river, and no joke, a river snake was swimming behind her, and so I got out the water as soon as possible, and I looked at her, and she's just like, la da da da. And I was
Enjoying
like,
the water.
how do
Yourself,
I
yeah.
get her out of the river without drowning? Because, right, like when you freak people out and they don't know how to swim well, they start drowning. And so I was like, hey, Amber, I need your help up here on the sand.
She's
and
like,
you
can
were
you come here real quick? I'm like, why?
I was like now, like really quick. I need you here. And she was looking at me. I had like nothing in my hands. I'm just like, I need your help on this random shore. And she got out like, what's wrong? I said, there's a snake. And she freaked out. So anyways.
It's not the only time that that's happened where Gabby has had to trick me into we've had stories.
Oh yeah, we have stories for days. But I am
anyways.
here. This is the love I have for you and everybody out there. So I am here for you, whatever it takes to get you safe.
Helps too.
Where you
We're
need
here
to
to
go.
help you.
Anyways, I want to talk about the subject at hand. I know they want to hear about it. I actually really am curious to hear you guys talk about what it's like to pursue your creativity as a family, because I have a boyfriend and we have these conversations, right? Like,
Right, yeah.
how do you, like we talk about doing creative things, touring, like musically. We've talked about that. Like, what does it look like when you have a family?
Well, Chelsea, I'm
Yeah.
curious because you started independently, right? Like it was just Chelsea doing your thing, and then you had to learn how to incorporate, having a band in the first place, but then eventually once you two were married and now you have a daughter, Capri,
Whom we love.
Yes, we love Capri. But learning how to do that all together and like travel as a family, like I'll give a little spoiler to y'all. They lived in Korea for a little bit as a family.
Yeah, for like what, a year?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
whole year.
so I want to just hear your the story of how that all came together. You started from like it was just you, Chelsea, doing your music, and Andy plays guitar, but then you eventually became a ministry together that you've
Right.
been able to travel around and do this like a lot.
Right.
So tell us about that.
Yeah. So do you want me to start like at the beginning?
Yeah,
like, how
I
we
think
met?
so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then how you
All right.
navigate
In
it,
the
like
beginning.
through.
In the
yeah,
beginning.
In the beginning.
Like, how did it go
Okay.
from like solo, just you, to like now we have to learn how to, add a family into this?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I was an independent artist, country music artist, actually.
Which I love you
Yeah.
for that. I'm just saying, I don't like a lot of country, but when
got
you sang,
vocals, y'all.
Chelsea can sing, y'all.
Vocals.
Anyways, continue,
Thanks,
sorry.
guys, you are so kind. But yeah, so I was doing country music, and so my guitar player had called out, and I needed someone. And long story short, I'd started going back to church and getting back into that. And so I had met him through mutual friends at church. And so I put on Facebook, hey, I need a guitar player. Guess who posted or commented
Praise
on
God
my...
for Facebook. I'm telling you,
right?
relationships
I
are
know.
made on the Facebook.
I know. And so, so this one commented, and I felt bad because I was like, okay, he's the worship guitar player. I don't want to corrupt him. Like, okay, like I need to like figure out something.
First of all, you're so sweet.
Yeah, like, because I
Sweetest
was playing
person.
in some bars and stuff, and I was like, well, all right, so there was this one event that was a barbecue cook-off, and I was like,
Okay.
I'm gonna book him there. And so we did, and long story short, 6 months later we were married. And so
God.
it
That
was
escalated
fast.
quickly.
It was
Wow.
super fast.
I just need a moment because
Short story long, not long.
It's really long.
Fair.
Yeah.
I just wasn't expecting that to come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
6
I
months
do
later,
remember that
Yeah,
it
married.
was 6 months of meeting,
Yeah.
dating, and married. Like,
Yeah.
that's
So
incredible.
you came in like a rushing train. You were
Yes.
He
ready.
said, "I'm your guy," and he wasn't kidding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep. And
So how did you navigate that? Like,
So honestly, it was just I had horrible relationships in the past, and once I got into a good Christian relationship with a godly man, like
word.
it just totally shifted the way I looked at relationships in general. And so so it was. I mean, I'll be super bold and tell them that I told him that I was going to marry him like our second date. And so
Wow.
I don't recommend that.
How did that make you feel? Were you like, yeah, or like, whoa?
Yeah, no, I was overwhelmed. That was terrifying. But as far as like with our dynamic and just how I am and my personality, I never wanted her to stop music. I never wanted her to stop pursuing her passion for me. Like it was always an undersaid thing that like I'm gonna do everything in my power to help you achieve your goals. You know, and so there was never like a part where I was like, hey, I want you just to myself. Like all this, it was always going towards a direction together. And so like even like running towards God, running towards a goal musically. And so I never felt the need to be like, hey, stop what you're doing, and so and at times, I wanted to.
Right.
Right,
but,
for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, it was always like, how can I not be pushy, but help you on your journey more than I want you to change this and this for me, and this is the direction we're going in now. And so it was, and especially as quick as we moved in those 6 months, like you can't just come in and change everything.
Fair.
Definitely.
It's like somebody has a life and
Right.
they live that life, and so
Yeah.
I think the main question, especially for my brothers out there, is how can you partner
Yeah.
with your spouse in order to make them the best version of themselves?
Yeah, and Chelsey, you mentioned that you had some like rough relationships before that. Like, was that like, were they trying to change you and like kind of take away your pursuit, or?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, a lot of them just didn't understand. I mean, well, they weren't musicians. Not that if
That's
you're a musician,
real.
you have to date a musician. I'm not saying
No,
that.
yeah.
But they just didn't get that. They didn't understand. And so, for him to come along, and I'll second that. Like, he was extremely supportive from the get-go. And he's quite the opposite. I'm a lot more reserved. He's a lot more, like, adventurous. And so, if anything, he is probably, I can attest to you, are one of the reasons why I'm here in Kansas City, still doing music.
Wow.
Because he pushes me to keep doing it. Like,
That's awesome.
That's
so.
crazy. And I feel like that's so funny that you say that. Like, not funny, but interesting, because on stage, in terms of dynamics that you two play when you're playing together, like, you're most typically like leading something. And I would see you in the background, like, holding
yeah.
it together.
down.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
would
very
say
important, by the
I'm
way.
the biggest fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I love, and it's a great form of meekness and humility to be able to serve your spouse. And I think like in the Christian world, it's all like, men get this idea where it's like, I put my foot down and this is
She
where
has
we're
to
going, what we're
submit to
doing,
me.
you know, and
Which is terrifying as a woman. Like, whoa.
yeah,
I'm never getting married. Okay.
And so, you know, and so I think the real value of a man is how low you're going to go to serve your wife.
Wow.
You
Yeah.
know, and your kids and your family,
Yeah.
and so, you know, like I've never had a problem.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
playing
That's
guitar,
awesome.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of creatives, the reason that this is like a really good topic for creatives is because they're afraid that like having a family is something that will hold them back or stop them from their dreams. So I just
Right.
think it's awesome that you two are like actual living proof that like when you find someone who will actually partner with you in your dream and in your pursuit, like that can push you so much further. And that's
Absolutely.
that's just beautiful. I love hearing this. I don't think I've heard it like put this way before. I've heard your story a little, but like that's so cool.
Well, I think that's what attracts me to you guys as
Yeah.
friends too, is that I see like you're just so down to earth, and like that's humility to me, right? Like the ability just to be honest with each other, and like just from day one, y'all are so open and
Yeah.
welcoming, and just like,
Definitely.
hey, you want some Mountain Dew? Or
Right.
and just like I just love how you serve each other, and I think that's really important in all of this. I want to talk about two things, but first things first, you guys have a daughter, and so I think a lot of people, when they're thinking, especially musicians, right, like the talk of, hey, we want to do music or whatever kind of creative pursuit, but let's not have kids because that's gonna like hold us back, and we have to
Right.
live
Yeah.
like, I think in our minds most often we have this, I'm gonna live in the white picket suburban fence,
Yeah.
and that equals like corporate job and
Right,
like no creativity. Or I just don't ever have kids and I live this super awesome creative life.
Yeah.
But you guys are doing both.
Yeah.
So can you speak to that? Like, what do you navigate? What does it look like?
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll let you take this one.
Well, yeah, just the terminology you used when we were talking back and forth was the art of doing something as a family, and like I was chewing on that, and like the art of doing this as a family, like all art is different and it's unique, and all families are different and
Yeah.
unique, and it's so. And so like when we structure our lives, you know, it's very out of the box. And so like
That's awesome.
being from the South, you know, it's like the moms are like, they have 20 years planned out for their kids, you know, or
I don't know how
18
people
years,
do it.
you know. Like,
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. But I mean, like, you know, we had people say like, you can't just pull your kid out of the school and go homeschool them, or you can't just, you know, like think about your kids, and you're gonna, you know, your kid's not gonna have a structured life, and you know, and so you start getting all these ideas that you have to do what everyone else is doing, you know, and to me it looks like death. You
Yeah,
know, not
wow.
just mental, and you know, like there's to me there's very little life in being able and not being able to pursue something that you want. And so
Yeah.
you know, what we did was we did pull the kid out of school, and we did homeschool
that.
her, and it was
Yeah.
a lot of work, like learning how to homeschool a kid and how to move your entire family to another country to go serve there for a year. And so
Yeah.
but the thing is, like, you know, if you have a passion, you know, most people that are in any kind of creative field have a passion for something.
Definitely.
And it's like, for
Yeah.
me, it's like, if you have a passion to do something, like, you will tear down all kinds of walls that people try to put around you, you know? And so yeah, Capri, like, went to Korea with us, and she got this amazing experience that
Yeah.
very few other 10-year-olds get to have, and 9 at the time. And then
Yeah.
you know, she gets to go like backstage, you know, when Chelsey was touring and stuff, and she gets to meet other people. And so
Yeah.
you know, to me, that kind of value of being together,
Yeah.
you know, is important. And then I would say the second part, though, just right quick, also is having a supportive group around you. You know,
That's good.
and so it takes
Yeah.
a tribe to raise a kid, and it
Yeah,
really
for
does.
sure,
And
yeah.
so just like shout out to Chelsea's parents and my parents both, that, you know, if we need something, or if there's, you know, a place we gotta go and do something, like they're more than happy to take care of Capri. And
Yeah.
and people like Gabby,
Right.
you know, they're like,
I babysat
Yeah.
once.
Auntie Gabby.
You know, I love your daughter though.
Gabby
Yeah.
allowed us to have our first date in like 4 months.
Yeah.
And
Really?
so-
When was this? That's a long
so-
time ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This
Wow.
is last semester, right?
Yeah.
Last semester.
That's
in
amazing.
school.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it takes having that group
that
of people
community
around
of
you.
people.
The
Yeah.
community.
Agree.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you have a question? Sorry, you look at me to say something. I don't want to interrupt you.
No, you had another one. So,
Oh, I wanted to hear about Korea.
Yeah, I did too.
I mean, I want to hear about it. Period. That's all I
So,
got.
like, you guys uprooted your lives here in KC. You had been living here, what, already, like, 2 years?
2 years.
Yes, 2 years.
And then just went and moved to Korea to pursue music in the House of Prayer
Correct.
full time.
Yes.
To like lead it though,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy. First
Yeah.
of all, I got offered to go too, and I struggled with it because I
Yeah.
just didn't know. I didn't feel the peace of the Lord on it. But
Yeah.
honestly, I loved watching you guys, and I want to go back to just Capri being 9 in Korea because I would follow y'all's stories, and I felt like she was like an influencer, and I'm
Oh,
just
yeah.
watching her walk down the streets, and I'm like, what is she doing today?
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they loved her there.
They loved Capri, like a whole nother level of love for her. Like,
Wow.
first off, the Korean people are amazing. Like, they're so like they give gifts as
Oh
like
my gosh.
their love language, you know, kind of. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, we would show up to our apartment and there'd be like groceries or like just
Oh
a
my
little toy
gosh.
for Capri, like just randomly,
amazing.
like so kind. But yeah, it was interesting dynamic because you know Capri felt a little lost at first, you know,
For
of
sure.
course.
Yeah.
As
but-
any adult would, too.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
I
like
was
going to
totally
another
lost.
country, you don't
Yeah.
speak the language, you like not experience
Yeah.
anything outside your own culture really. Like,
Yeah.
that's huge.
If it wasn't for him, like I would have stayed in the apartment the whole time. He's the adventurous one,
one,
remember?
yeah.
So, but yeah, I totally had those thoughts too. Like, oh gosh, like what if we get lost? Like, there's no way. Like, we
Right.
can't read nothing, you know?
Yeah.
True. I understand.
But yeah, Capri, man, like even the type of music that we played in the House of Prayer there was different, and
For
so
sure,
it
yeah.
kind of it influenced them in a different way. Like mostly like Koreans, like they play more like ballads and like stuff like that. We come in and we're more like funky. Like we'll play like funk and like you know a
Yeah.
little rock and roll, a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
so-
tuning in some
Southern
of those
soul.
lives.
Yes, yes. And so, so it was interesting because we kept telling Capri, like, hey, like, you should get up and dance or, you know, something like, because she loves to do that. But, you know, she just was super nervous to do it there. And so, you know, Andrew told her before the set, this particular set, he was like, you need to do that. You should get up and dance. And so she did. And do you know that sparked something in the community? There was so many videos going viral of her just within this 7,000 person church. Like there people were coming up and they were like, Capri. And they were like dancing. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah,
And
she was
the
dancing.
kids started dancing
kids-
in the
Oh my
youth
gosh.
ministry and like the
Yeah.
children's
Wow.
ministry.
Yeah.
Wow, what
Wow,
freedom.
that's powerful.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So the Lord definitely used her to, you know, spark that
yeah.
freedom, even in their house of prayer there, to express and dance and in moving your body and things like that. And so
Which is
that was
like
super
art
cool.
in its own form.
It
Definitely.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's
Yeah.
so powerful because
Yeah.
I feel like that needs to be spoken more. Like, hey, what you have to offer, no matter how small you think it is or irrelevant, like it could change someone's life.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
and it most likely will.
It
Like,
could change culture. It did there.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You see?
culture, a
Yeah.
whole city, and Seoul is not a small like
No.
place. It's like a big
It's
deal.
big.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
big, yeah. So, yeah, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
really awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I keep looking at you. This is your show.
Wow, okay.
I'm just kidding.
I'm looking at you. Yeah, so you guys have, you know, obviously taken some major steps, but on top of that, you guys have your own ministry. So, like, how did that come about? How did you start? It's Arrow Worship Ministries, right?
Correct.
And
Yes.
how did you guys decide that as a family you wanted to pursue that together? And what is Arrow Worship Ministries?
Do you see how her questions are so much more comprehensive than
They're
mine?
so good.
I'm just
Yeah.
like, yeah. So I keep looking at you like, what's next?
It's like Miss USA. You just have a preset answer in your head, and you just do something totally different. It's like- yeah. So yes, the bunny rabbits are fluffy and cute. Yeah. So I think really, really Chelsey as a leader has an anointing to almost like a magnet, like pull people close to her and around her.
Yeah.
And so when we were leading the Celebrate Recovery Ministry in Alabama, and Chelsey was the worship leader there, people would just like gravitate that. They wanted to be around her, and like if there was a Bible verse that stuck out to her, like they wanted to hear it. Like people are just very, you know, and so, you know, when she went on the road, we really, as the Chelsey Webb band,
Love it.
Chelsey Webb and the
Chelsea
Crickets,
show.
you know,
The rest of y'all.
yeah. But yeah, when she went on the road, we were just like, you know, we need to really found something, you know, and so we would always think of ourselves as arrows. And then Isaiah 49 verse 2, it talks about how the Lord keeps his arrows in his quiver polished and ready. And so like, I'm always like, you know, when we go somewhere, I feel like we're being shot out from the Lord's bow, you know, and so that's where arrow worship come from. And then, but yeah, and so it was really on the back end of that first like kind of Eastern America tour that we did. And so what was really cool about it is that it allowed us to get to the International House of Prayer, because we really started using it as, you know, being able to do the tax deductible,
Right.
you know, the 501c. And so for people donating to us, ended up being like a great tool. And so yeah, Chelsey made an awesome website with it, and we
Yeah, it
just,
is
you
good.
know,
Yeah.
we just went for
Approved.
it. It's like a mobile church.
Yeah.
You know?
I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so powerful.
Yeah. So what would you guys like say to creatives who are trying to start their ministry like that? Like, what's some advice you would give for like people who are like they're interested in doing something like that and like launching out, but they don't know where to start?
That's a good question.
I got a quick one for
Okay,
that.
go for it.
So as far as launching out, just do it.
That's a word.
Like,
Amen.
Like, yes.
We've been preaching that for
like
5
just do
years.
it. We heard that. We were at where was it?
Room.
The Upper Room in Texas, and like one of the blessings that the pastor's wife gave the girls was she was like, run like a girl. Like she was like, and I had this Nike sign in my head saying, just do it, just run like a girl as hard as you can. Like you can do this, and it was such a great blessing. But I feel like a lot of people, especially that have been in ministry a long time, are gonna ask these really tough questions like, how much money do you have saved up for this thing, and how much this and that, and not that that's unnecessary or bad, but it sometimes hinders us and makes us feel like, you know, like as a young creative,
Yeah.
you can't do that.
Instills fear too.
Yeah, it
Oh,
instills
yeah.
fear. you
And
know?
y'all really experienced that.
So,
huh?
Yeah.
and a lot of people are like, well, you can't just start a nonprofit, and it's like, well,
Yes, I can.
you
Why
know,
can't we?
and so we saved up. Yeah.
Why can't we?
We
With the
say-
biggest smile. Sorry.
No, we saved up some money and we went and talked to a CPA, and he's like, you know, yeah, this is what you need to do, and you know, this is the direction we need to go, and you know, half a week of work later, we're a business.
That's awesome.
You
That's
know,
crazy.
That's
Yeah.
crazy, yeah.
Yeah, and so then it's like, okay, well now let's start forming it, and so I think the first step into starting something is just making a step.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree 100%.
So
Going
did
to
you
talk to
guys
somebody.
like you had your vision and then you just found some people to help you? Like you said, you had a CPA agent
Correct.
to help you get it like actually made, but you started with your vision, is that right?
Correct.
And so what was that like initial vision? Like what were, if you could put it into like a sentence or two?
Okay. You want
Give
to
us
take
your
it?
elevator pitch right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the vision, honestly, was to get to the International House of Prayer,
Okay.
to be real with you. And so that was the goal, is to get here. We know that intercessory missionaries, they raise support to be in the House of Prayer. And so we're like, okay, Lord, like, how do we do this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so just our pastor at the time just told us, hey, you probably need to start a nonprofit. And we're like, really? Like, we hadn't even thought of that,
Yeah.
you know? And
That's good
so,
you had people around you
yeah,
that knew
again,
that.
community.
Yeah.
You need wisdom.
To
Definitely.
be open with community, because how does
Yeah.
somebody know to tell you that if you
Yeah.
don't say anything?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
that's huge.
all we had was what the Lord had told us, you know,
Yeah.
and the calling. We felt the call, and we're like,
Yeah.
okay, how do we make this happen then? 'Cause
Yeah.
we are not millionaires, we don't know what to do.
I know. I
And
know.
so, anyway, and so that was the goal, is to get to school, to go to school at the International House of Prayer University, and so. In the midst of all that, though, Arrow Worship Ministries is kind of molded into this thing too, as well, where I have about 5 or 6 different worship leaders that I speak into, that I have open relationships with as well. So that's kind of a whole nother what it kind of spun into.
That's awesome.
And so, yeah, so like we text and talk throughout the week, like talk about set lists, we talk about the hard things, like how do I tell someone they can't sing? How do I,
Right.
I mean, those are hard questions.
Yeah,
As worship
right.
Chelsey and I are
leaders.
both like worship directors right now. That's really hard to do.
That's, yeah, yeah.
You're like, you need
You don't wanna-
lessons.
You don't want to hurt their feelings, but then again, it's like, I don't want to lie to you either. And
You know
then send
who
you on
really
the
helped
wrong
me with
path.
that? Helen Lee.
Really?
She said, yeah,
Yes,
as a
Helen
leader, and I
Lee.
think this goes even beyond music, right?
Shout
like,
out, love Helen.
yeah, we
Yes.
love you, Helen.
We
Like,
do.
she told me one time, she called me out because I would often say, hey, that's really awesome. And she'd be like, mm-mm. She was like, listen up. Like, yeah, it's awesome, but why? Like, you're not helping anybody by just saying that's awesome. The same goes like, hey, you suck. Like, I think, as creatives, musicians, worship
true,
leaders,
though,
whatever we're doing, we need to be a little more articulate. So I try with my team, like, hey, if that was awesome, I liked your strum pattern. I like that, the melodic notes that you're playing. And then they're like, okay, I'm going to do that more. Because if you're just like, that's awesome, like, okay, was my stance awesome?
Right,
Like, my hair? Like,
What did I do?
and so, yeah, anyways,
Yeah,
I hear you on that.
absolutely.
Total tangent, but yes.
No, it's
yeah.
cool. Yeah, and so Arrow's kind of taken on this, these 5-6 people that are worship leaders back
I love
in
that.
Alabama.
That's
And so
great.
That's so cool. I
one's
did not
back
know
in
that.
South Korea, so
What?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Y'all are
Praise God, not
influencers
North
out here.
Korea. Amen.
Not North Korea, South Korea.
I think when you say Korea, some people are like, when you guys went, they'd be like, Korea?
Oh,
And
that's
we're like,
exactly
no.
everyone's response. My
It's funny,
family.
we were an hour from the North Korean border, and everybody's just enjoying life. I
Yeah.
feel like there was more people in America. They're like, oh my gosh, like Kim Jong and all this, and it's like we're like an hour from them. I'm like, are you guys not scared? And they're like, nah.
Nobody
No.
He's
phased
Wow.
here.
He's
No.
been talking trash a long time. Like,
Everyone's
we're not
chilling.
worried.
Like,
Yeah.
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 So funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I want more tips for creatives getting started. So just do it. That's one.
Yes.
Give us one, Chelsea. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Gosh. Oh man.
If you're talking to someone, they're like, I want to do this thing, but they've yet to like get started, what would you say? Like from your wealth, like you've been in this thing for years, being a creative,
Right.
going after it, the vision that you have.
I guess, like for me, I had to pray against fear almost like every week. I mean, because it was like all this accusation from the enemy, like, okay, like this is not going to come through the way that you think, and
Wow.
I don't know. There was just so many things that, like what he was saying, like with people, like even going to Korea, it was like, why are y'all doing this?
Yeah.
Like, this is totally different. Like you're right there in North Korea. Like there was so much fear.
Yeah.
And so with that, maybe be careful who you tell at the very beginning.
That's
so
a word.
huge.
You know?
That is a word.
'Cause
Yeah.
that is, I wish that I would have been careful at the very beginning of who I told and how
Yeah.
much I told
Yeah.
at that moment, because not that family's bad, it's from a good heart, but some of their questions can instill fear in you from pursuing certain things at that moment, and so yeah.
Yeah, I heard like a quote or something. I don't know who said it, but somebody said, don't feel like everybody has to catch your vision. Like,
Right.
because most people won't.
That's
And
true.
I remember when I started like Helps To, well, I didn't start Helps To, but when I started doing Helps To, I came on as a social media manager, kind of like my girl right here who has evolved. But like I did, and I was touring, and I had literal people at my church back in California come up to me. One guy came up to me and said, "You are a gypsy, you will never get married." And I was like, wow, way to take a sister down in a rough time. Like, and I was just like, what in the world? But I started realizing really quickly, people are not going to get it. They're not going to understand what I feel called to, my vision. And the people that do though, and can be honest with you, my mom, it took her a while, even her, like she didn't get it at first.
Yeah.
And so I think it took her like, I don't know, like I think I was 26 when my mom started getting it. And I had been touring though since I was like 21 and wanting to do music since I was 8. And so like, yeah, I did music, but like as long as it was in the confines of what she could understand, like playing the clarinet in a band, or
Right,
like, she was
right.
cool. She was like, I love your musical pursuit. The moment I had a degree in business and wasn't earning any money out on the road and just selling merch and making $50 a show,
Yeah.
she was like, I I don't get it. She would literally say that like over and over and over again until it kind of pushed me over the edge. But like, and then I got anger management emails. I'm like, I've been so nice to you, but you just keep poking me. And so anyways, but I think we're finally in a good place because people have seen it work out.
Yeah.
But when they didn't,
Especially that startup phase
That
where
limbo
nobody
phase.
really knows how it's going to go yet. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
they can really start to prod at you. Like, are you sure you're capable of this? Are you sure you're ready for this?
Right.
yeah, my biggest tip for anyone who's listening or watching is get the thing that you want to do and put it in front of your mind's eye and just look at it and commit to doing it for a certain time period.
Yeah.
So for me, it was YouTube. Like 2 years ago, I told Amber I'm committing to doing, which is felt psycho at the time. It felt so burdenous. I was like, I'm gonna do one video
Per week.
every week for a year and not even look at the analytics or the metrics or how it's working out. I'm just gonna be determined to do this. And I did it, and then I lifted my head and I was like, okay, that was not as bad as I thought it would be. Because at first I didn't know. Amber had the camera, y'all. No gimbal, no fancy anything.
holding it in
moving
my
it with her
hands.
hands. Practically pissed at me every time. Because she's like, this thing is so heavy, Gabby. You're gonna make
She
me do
wanted
this
to
for the fourth
reshoot
time.
so many times.
They got to
Thank God-
experience it,
thank
though,
God
right?
Andre is our
you guys,
videographer
well,
now.
Amber did a video for us. Remember?
Yes.
You videoed
Yeah,
us.
yeah,
And I
that's
recorded
right.
it. That was
Yes.
great. Under the
Yes.
Helps to name. Look at that.
I do remember that.
Yeah, it was actually really good. I like it. So,
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, we did that, and now like it's not even a thought to do YouTube. Like, yeah,
To put out a weekly video.
yeah. And
And
then I
it's
just feel like
grown.
things grow naturally when you do them.
Right.
Especially
Like you don't stay in the
consistently.
same place.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so you meet new people as you do it and talk about it and yeah.
Yeah, and batch shooting was majorly helpful for that. Like, I know that doesn't apply to all creatives, but like especially musicians, like we would shoot 2 or 3 music videos a lot of times in a day, which is tiring.
Psychotic,
It's
yeah.
tiring. They're not like music videos, like
Just
you know,
songs, like
but
performance
yeah,
videos,
live videos, live songs. But yeah, like just batch shooting was really helpful in terms of like consistency and putting something out every single week.
But I think I honestly have that reputation amongst a lot of our friends too as like the crazy person that like kind of goes for it. And like I feel like a lot of people have said, "Oh, that's Gabby." Like she does that. Like
That's
no,
her
no,
thing.
you can do it too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it just has to look like you. Like you can just sit there and be like,
Yeah.
"Well, that's
Yeah.
so and so," or "They're
Yeah.
really made," or "The
Yeah.
Webbs are really good at that." Like
Yeah.
you can do it. You can do it. I can do
Right.
it at our own pace.
Yeah.
Right.
But as long as you take a step forward, which I loved
Right.
your advice, Andy. It's perfect. Just
That's
start.
what I love about you, though, and like what you do is, because you've encouraged me. You've been
Really?
super vocal, encouraging me. Yeah, keep pursuing
Oh, well, yeah.
your music, girl, or
Yeah, because
whatever,
you
and
are
just-
gifted. That's
Yeah,
why.
and just, I mean, like, I don't know, I just appreciate you so much because just through the 4 years that I've known you, like, you've been super vocal into, like, helping others. Like, it's not just Gabby going for it. Like, you're quick to turn around and grab our hand and, like, hey, no,
That's
like,
true.
I want to pull you along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, being on the mountaintop alone is like the loneliest place. Like, so yeah, you want to be super successful, but you have no friends. Like at the end of it, like, what did you
Right,
gain?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
nothing. Like, why not be successful together? And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and you guys have inspired me because you guys just like whatever life throws at you. You, with a joyful heart, you just adjust, you ebb, you flow. And I think as creatives sometimes, or human beings, we can just be like, oh, a bill popped up? I'm so sad. What am I going to do? And not
Right.
do anything
Right.
Yeah.
and just live miserable. But
cry.
I've seen you guys get 1, 2 jobs and you're like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm serving musically over here. I'm doing this over here. But I'm just going to go get a job because that's like what to do. Or we want to go on this trip. So we're going to like work extra hard and like,
Yeah.
and you make life really practical. And I think we can miss that as human beings. And a lot of us Christians can miss that.
Yeah.
Like, just, I love waiting on the Lord. I think we should. It's in the Bible. Wait on the Lord, you know?
Right, yeah.
Psalm 34, 7, right? Or something like that. Wait on the Lord.
Sure.
Okay.
Isaiah 40 says, "Wait on the Lord, and He will renew your
Oh,
strength."
Psalm 130.
there
I
you go.
wait. That's why I sing the word.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying the words.
It's all over in the Bible. It says, "Wait on the Lord" a whole bunch.
Yeah, yeah. I think though when we think that a lot of people have promoted in life, just different passion, whatever, and I'm not calling anyone out, but the waiting aspect more so than the practical aspect. But the Bible also says, faith without works, is dead.
Right.
That's my biggest in this season. Yeah.
Just
So,
do it. Thank you.
Just do
Back
it.
to it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nike, don't sue us.
Right? Oh my gosh.
I do not
I'm gonna try to upload this to YouTube. It'll be like checks failed. You guys have copyright issues.
Dang it.
Gotta cut this whole part out.
I think I have one more thing though I do want to say.
Please, yeah.
Just about that and being a creative. And I think some people have an idea and a thought, and they want to be able to put it into action and play, but there's this like fear of failure, right? And so
Yeah, definitely.
There's this idea like, okay, well, what if I do this and I fail and it's not, and so I would also encourage somebody if they're kind of like entertaining the idea of starting up their own ministry or something like that, find somebody else that's doing that.
Come on, that's good. Yeah.
And then join them. And then with 6 months of experience, working with somebody in that, you will already know if you want to do it for sure or not.
Yeah.
That's so true.
And you'll have your own idea of like, hey, when I branch off, it's like somebody wanting to start a restaurant, but they've never worked in the restaurant industry.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like, if you know it's there and you just don't feel like really from the Lord, like this isn't the exact season, then join somebody that's doing that.
Wow.
And so.
Now I know why you call him Latin Heat. It's full of heat. Sorry, I'm busting out Charles' personal business on the camera. That is fire.
Yeah.
That's a word.
It's so true. I mean, and just to encourage everyone, I think it's so easy when you hear that to be like, well, they're not doing that because they've all like made it to a certain place.
Yeah.
But I am doing it again, and I always try to put myself in these like very vulnerable positions. So like you asked earlier, I'm running a triathlon, and I have never ran a triathlon in my whole life. Like I'm a land animal to the fullest. And so just the thought of
The
swimming
swimming part,
kind of like, I'm not kidding, guys. Like, I think I have some trauma. Well, I know I have some trauma from a young age. I almost drowned at like the age of 5. But like, I'm here, and I'm fine. You guys have seen me swim. Like, I don't have a problem in like casual situations.
Okay.
But the moment you tell me I have to swim 500 meters and
wow.
there's like a timer going, like there's like a mental spiral that kind of could happen. It's like I just gotta like talk myself out of it.
Yeah.
A lot of fear there, but. I made up in my mind today, I'm gonna join. They have this thing at the gym called Master Swim. If you're a swimmer, you've probably heard of it. Master Swim, it's literally all these swimmers, early morning, they jump in the Olympic-sized pool and they just swim these
back
workouts.
and forth nonstop.
Yeah,
my
they'll have like 3 or 4
gosh.
people in one lane, just circling the lane. And they have lanes by like actual speed. So the slow lanes are like on the outside, fast lanes are on the inside.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I just decided, I talked to a few of them by chance, because I'm in like, the inside pool. I'm like trying to run or swim my 500 meters. And they were like, you just need to come. And I was like, it's just, I'm so terrified. Like, and they're like, if you got to stop, you got to stop. Like, just come.
Yeah.
And what you say about getting in with people that are doing it has changed my life. Like in fitness and in music. I mean, just being at the International House of Prayer, those musicians are top notch. Like I thought I knew music and then start playing with people. And I'm like, wait, there's no musical sheets here? Like we're all just playing spontaneously for 2 hours? Like get out of here. And then someone's like, hey, I'm gonna change the key. And they don't even say it. Just like,
Here we go.
and you're like, what? And they throw you a number. You're like, I don't know what's happening. So my level of musicianship had to rise, and it was terrifying once again because it was so unfamiliar. But look at us now.
Right?
I mean, Andrew, I see you over there on the bass and the guitar. I'm like, who is this dude? Mostly because I play the guitar, and I'm like, what is he doing? This is good.
I need to take notes.
And then Chelsey plays the keys. You did not play the keys when you started.
Correct. Yeah. So
You're like leading from the keys. That's
Right.
crazy. Yeah. And then Amber, I didn't mention this, but you play the bass and the keys too. She doesn't want anyone to know.
What?
you play bass too?
Yeah. Don't you hate her for that?
Don't tell anyone.
There's such a lack of bassists, and you're just gonna like know that you play the bass and just hide out.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it that
And
way.
she's a flautist.
That's right. Flautist. Remember the word of the day. Everyone say it with me.
Flautist. That made you so happy, huh?
Yeah.
great.
It took me back to being a pre-K teacher for a second there. It's great.
That's great. Yeah. I'm so glad.
Anyways.
Well, how do you want to wrap this up?
Well, we haven't done this in a long time because we haven't had a new guest in a while, but you were asking people like 3 kind of silly questions at the end.
Oh, yeah. I
you
did
remember
like a
those?
kind of like fun outro. Yeah, I remember some of them.
One of them was about, so if you're on a deserted island, which 3 things
Stole
would
my
you bring?
thunder.
Sorry.
Okay. If you're on an island and you only get to take 3 things with you, what would you bring?
Chelsea's like ice cream.
Yeah, I'm like,
No, I'm with you,
That's
girl.
great.
Ice for the
What am I
cold
gonna
drinks.
eat?
Ice for the cold drinks.
It is very
That's
Chelsea.
golden.
yeah.
And
I
Grey's
love that.
Anatomy.
Ooh.
Season 5.
Wow. Okay, so now you answer for Andrew.
Right.
What's he bringing?
He would have to have his fishing pole, for sure.
His fish. Oh yeah,
Fishing
makes
pole.
sense.
Oh, you're gonna eat and have
She's
fun.
actually doing practical things that I would like.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is great.
Fishing pole.
Pressure's on.
His
What is running through your
an
mind right
Incubus
now?
CD, probably.
I don't have a player.
I know, but I'm
The
just.
next thing has to be the CD.
We can bring the player with the CD.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
it's a
It's
A
like
solar player.
There
Yeah,
you go.
there you
And
go.
then-
This disc for
And
a
then,
year.
oh gosh, what would be the thing
for the rest of your life.
I'm thinking. Your dog. You'd have to take Kipper. I know.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, let me do white shirt this for a second. Okay, we're
Okay,
on
okay.
a deserted island. We need fire. We need a weapon.
There's always that
A
one
weapon,
practical
huh?
person.
And yes, probably like a knife. I don't know about a handgun or anything, but you know, like
Okay.
bullets run out. But a
Yeah.
knife, a knife to defend yourself, and you know, kill stuff if
Kill
needed.
stuff.
Yeah, that might kill you.
Fair.
And then a fishing
Fair.
pole, of
Yeah.
course. But yeah,
Perfect.
even a lighter. We've been watching this show called Alone on Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And they drop people off with like a few personal items.
Oh,
and
God, no.
Yeah.
That's scary.
That's not my portion.
No,
I don't think I could do
it's
that.
not mine
Yeah.
I would take a dog though. We'd just both die because we had no fire. Or water.
So best
Fair.
answer I've heard is somebody's
Okay.
gonna bring their laptop and have Amazon like ship things. And I was like, what
Wow.
in the good green earth?
If Amazon can find your deserted island, I guess.
You know
Yeah,
what? You give them
right.
your little
And then a boat
coordinates.
pulls up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or a
right.
drone nowadays. It could
Yeah,
be
they
a drone.
drop 'em.
Could be a drone.
I think
Yeah.
they actually do
Yeah.
that with Amazon now.
I think they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, Amazon. Let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazon sponsor us. I'm just kidding.
Okay. I roll my eyes because I'm like, what are the probabilities? But if you're watching, hey, we are open. So, and you can just sponsor all of us individually. Like, what light would you shed? Amen. But, okay, one last thing. What's one final tip you'd give to people watching? Just any tip for creatives.
For creatives, yeah.
Yeah.
Do whatever you're doing with a joyful heart.
Aw.
That's
Yeah.
great.
That's
Yeah,
like never
yeah.
talked about.
Yeah.
Everyone's just like, just do it.
Yeah.
Like kind of grouchy about it. Like,
muscle
just
through
do
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, yeah,
Me?
it should be fun.
Oh, you.
No, you're great. You're great. Joyful heart.
She's talking to you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Do it. What you do with the.
You're supposed to smile.
Yeah. There was a poster on my dentist wall when I was a kid growing up. You tell me how many times I was in there, but it said that life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. And I was always like, man, but it's so true. Like having a good attitude, what you do is gonna get you a long way. Like
That's so
a
true.
simple thank you. Let me talk some parenting for say thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tip your server. You know, like these are all small things. Let the granny cross the road.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
seriously. I mean, and
Yeah.
people call it karma, but it is just like an ancient old truth from God, first, I would say. But you reap what you sow. And in terms of what you put out there,
Yeah.
it will come back full fledged, plus
That's right,
some.
that's
Yeah,
right.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agree. Do you
Yeah.
have anything tip wise or no?
No, I've got a book here though.
Do you? Where'd that come from?
I don't know. It's almost like we've spent the last 3 years working on this.
I'd say 4, but you know, here we are.
Well, I've been on it for the last 2, so here
Yeah,
we
no,
are.
yeah, that's crazy.
So you want to tell everyone what this is?
We're holding it. Go for it.
Okay, this
See what she
is
says.
our book. And it is a book for creatives by creatives called We Don't Need Another Marketing Book. And so Gabby, along with another colleague of Helps To, Grace, they wrote this book together just to help creatives learn how to market their art while still staying true to themselves as artists. And so I think a lot of times artists struggle with like, I can't do the marketing because that kind of takes away from my authenticity. It makes people think I'm fake. So we are addressing all of that in this book, and we're helping you learn how you can sustain your craft as a creative and how you can grow and influence. So this is available on
Amazon. You can get like the actual like ebook copy, and you can go to I believe you can go to our website to get one. Right now they're on
Yes.
pre-order, but by the time this comes out, I think like everything will
They'll
be
be
live.
fully out,
So,
yeah. And we'll
yeah.
link it below as well. So
Yeah.
be sure and looking out for that. And
Helps to.com.
also, we want to get your guys' information for everyone watching. So how can everyone watching connect with you guys and with Arrow Worship?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, our Cash App is
I hear that.
Honestly.
Chelsey created this really cool website. Probably not anywhere as cool as if you would get going to Helps 2 Media, but
We didn't say it.
but yes, it has Capri's beautiful face on it, her daughter. But
get better than that.
ArrowWorshipMinistries.com. You can go on there, kind of catch up with our story, see where we've been, where we're going, and even give to the ministry, and also Facebook. Yeah, we have an Arrow Worship page with Facebook and Instagram. She's a music missionary, right?
No, it's
No.
just Chelsey Webb.
Sorry.
No.
It says it somewhere.
You got the brand all wrong.
Yes.
I know, right?
No.
Right.
Yeah.
And we'll link it all below so y'all can find them, follow them, hit them up, give to them.
For sure, yeah. Like if you were blessed by this or you feel super encouraged, slip them like $10, $100, $1,000, whatever you feel led to give, $1 million. Hey, if you're balling like that, you can slip us $1 million too. Yeah. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you are new here, make sure you subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're listening on the podcast app, thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe through whatever you're listening to or through right now. And we will see you on our next episode. Thank you so much. We love y'all. Bye.
Bye.